Imagine if a romantic comedy and a horror movie had a baby. One of their offspring would be Sorry About the Demon. Now, I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad combination, but continue watching this video to see what I think about Sorry About the Demon and if that marriage actually works, could work, and if it works in this situation for Sorry About the Demon. What's up, YouTube? Zero here, and today I have a horror movie review of Sorry About the Demon. This is a Shudder exclusive, so if you want to watch this movie, or if you have Shudder and you haven't watched this movie yet, stick around to see what I think, if you should watch it, or if you've seen it, just stick around to see if you agree with what I feel about Sorry About the Demon. In this video, I'll go through the synopsis of Sorry About the Demon. Then I'll get into the few main actors. There are a few that this movie does have, but I'm going to talk about the two main ones. Then I'm going to talk about the director. Then I'll get into the pros and cons of Sorry About the Demon. I'll talk about ratings from some prominent websites. And at the end of the video, I'll give my final rating, so make sure you stick around for that. Just a reminder that if you do enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more horror movie reviews. I do a bunch of other content, mystery box unboxing, and video game content, so feel free to check that out as well. Thank you so much in advance for doing so. Without further ado, let's get into the synopsis of Sorry About the Demon. And actually a quick one. A young man struggling with a broken heart learns that his new place is full of restless spirits. So a very quick synopsis. Doesn't give much about what Sorry About the Demon is going to be about. So if you know nothing about this movie, your mind may be racing and wondering, well, what is this going to be? What you know is that a man moves into a house he just got broken up with, and the house he moves into has restless spirits. Most likely a demon is involved because the movie is entitled Sorry About the Demon. On top of that, if you dig just a tiny bit further into the genre, you'll understand that this movie is labeled as a horror comedy. So it is in that horror comedy genre where it has some horror elements as well as comedy elements. Taking that synopsis just one step further, as I did mention before, Sorry About the Demon does feel like a crossover between a romantic comedy and a horror movie. But before I get into the pros and cons of this movie, let me get into the few main actors and the director, talk about where you may have seen them before or heard of them before, and then get into my pros and cons. So first, the main actor, John Simpson, who plays Will, the young man who's struggling and finds a new house. Now, he hasn't really had much of an acting career. He's actually been a producer of a few movies, though. Hasn't done much in the acting realm. Some of the media that he has produced is Hi, I'm and The Get Together. So if you've seen those, you'll know that he is the producer of those. He's a producer of other media as well. And then Jeff McQuitty is also in this movie and stars as Patrick, Will's good friend, and he is also known as a producer. He's been the producer of A Perfect Host. So we have two of the main actors who really haven't done much in terms of acting, more along the producer line. They have been involved in a lot of producing a few movies and TV shows, but not as much in the acting side of it. Now the director, Emily Haggins, or Haggins, however you want to pronounce it, is Hagins. She has written and directed a few different media, not as much in the prominent area. I didn't know of these when I looked at them, but she is in a couple such as Scare Package and My Sucky Teen Romance. So she is, I assume My Sucky Teen Romance is in the romance area, so she does know about the romance genre, and she probably brings some of that into this movie. So now that I've talked about some of the actors and directing, let me get into the pros and cons. Being a horror comedy, you're looking for a few different aspects. You're looking for those funny moments as well as those scary moments or gory moments, depending upon if it's more of the slasher horror comedy or if it's more of the combo where you get your scary moments and you get your funny moments. In terms of music, because sometimes I do like to bring up the music and the atmosphere, this movie does do a good job of playing the horror music at the right times so you can get your hair to kind of stand on end and your skin to crawl when you need it to. So, in terms of the musical composure and playing it at the right time, that is a pro for this movie. However, I mentioned earlier, and I kind of alluded to it, this movie feels like a cross between a romantic comedy and a horror. Now, that can work. I'm not saying it can't, but sorry about the demon, it just doesn't feel like it works. This falls around Will, who moves into a new house. He's very depressed about his breakup, and he encounters these spirits. So what happens is, I'm not going to get into any spoilers, but in terms of the overarching plot, it just seems a little dull. There isn't much in terms of really making me want to know more as the story progresses, because the acting itself and me trying to connect with the characters, I mean, we all have been there. We've all been broken up with, so we understand what Will is going through. However, it just doesn't feel like he's as relatable of a character. The writing itself is just bland. The characters kind of say what you expect them to say if you've seen romantic comedies before, if you've seen horror movies before, or if you've just seen comedies before. The writing itself and the acting is a little dull. On top of that, while it does have some chuckles, I did chuckle a little bit, some of the comedic moments were very predictable. When you see a character do something that is supposed to make you laugh, you kind of see it coming. And when you see something coming, it's just not as funny. So unfortunately, that falls flat. The romantic part of this movie just also falls flat. You also can see that coming from a mile away. I was thinking that Sorry About the Demon was going to be something completely different. The title doesn't really fit into what this movie ends up being. It really should have had a different title, alluding to more of what was going to happen, or the story should have been a little bit different to kind of coincide with what the title is. Now, that's not saying that the movie is unwatchable. Again, there were some moments that did make me laugh. The acting was okay, although bland at a lot of times, and the writing was just kind of eh. However, the music was good and played at the right moments, and when you wanted those horror moments to kick in, it did a little bit make the hair stand on end, so that was a good thing. Now, this combination of rom-com and horror in this situation just really doesn't work for me. But anyway, let's get into some of the ratings from the prominent sites, and then I'll talk more about my final review. Now, from IMDb, Sorry About the Demon is sitting at a 4.9 stars out of 10. And just a reminder, this is as I'm recording this video. These could change as more reviews come in. There aren't a lot of reviews as of right now. It's only at 321 reviews for Sorry About the Demon for that 4.9 out of 10, so it's bound to change. Rotten Tomatoes also doesn't have a lot of reviews in, but sitting right now, it's at 86% with critics and 75% with audience, so much better than IMDb. On Metacritic, this is just noting there really isn't any reviews. There's only one review from a critic posted on there right now and none from users, that critic has Sorry About the Demon at a 50 out of 100. So for me, this mashup of the romantic comedy and horror just doesn't work. The writing is bland, and the acting was pretty bland as well. The comedic moments, some were good and some just fall flat. The horror composure was good and they were played at the right moment. But together, it just didn't work for me as an overarching story and mashup of horror comedy. When you think of some of the best horror comedies in the industry, you think of Cabin in the Woods, Shaun of the Dead, and the Scream movies. Even if you want to take one step down, as not a high budget horror comedy, you think of Dale and Tucker vs. Evil. All those are great horror comedies, and this just doesn't reach those peaks. I'm not saying this is an awful movie that you should never watch. I'm saying that this is an okay movie that if you have Shudder, I'd watch it once, but it's not a movie that I'm going to watch multiple times. I'm glad I watched it once, but it's not one that I'm going to go out of my way to watch again, and it's not one that I would purchase Shudder specifically for. If you have Shudder, I recommend giving it one watch, but it's not that great of a movie. For that reason, I'm going to give Sorry About the Demon a 4 stars out of 10. It's an okay movie with a couple of redeeming qualities, but the majority of qualities just fall flat in the mashup of a romantic comedy and a horror movie. In this situation, based off of this story, just doesn't work. I'm sure it can work based off of the right story, but in this situation, it just doesn't. Well, let me know in the comments section what you think about Sorry About the Demon. Are you on the same page as me, or are you completely different? Did you love this movie or did you hate it? Leave a comment in the comment section and let me know. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and until next time, stay spooky. Peace.